Hello, Ontario blue collar workforce. I have some things that I'd like to talk to you about the surgical masks that they are forcing us to wear in a hot and humid environment for 5+ hours. All of the facts that I have found, I will provide the links, and the full manuscript will be in the description below. I feel that if they are making us wear a mask with no heavy research behind it, they should also allow us to use a face shield instead, because there is not enough research on the face mask in the hot environment for 5+ hours. And the shield does the same thing as protecting the mouth spit and moisture caused from talking. And it would not give you the mask associated headaches called the de novo PPE headache or hypercarpenia, which this is how it's pronounced.
Hypercapnia.
Hypercapnia. So my first bit of research comes from the Lewis Rockwell, and the title is Masks. Are they beneficial or just a comfort prop? Let the facts speak. By Jennifer something, Collective Evolution, May 22nd, 2020. Wearing a mask could put you at greater risk of getting COVID-19. Regular or cloth surgical masks irritate the user, causing the user to touch their face with dirty hands more often. Also, the coronavirus spreads in droplets, which most masks do not block. These masks can actually trap droplets inside, increasing the risk or reducing it. Increasing the risk instead of reducing it, sorry. Masks can cause difficulty and labored breathing, even in a healthy individual. Blocking air, even partially, puts excess stress on the thoracic muscles and the diaphragm, causing a person to feel out of breath. Wearing a mask can also make a person feel anxiety and panic, especially in some individuals who have post-traumatic stress disorders and other mental health issues. So in summary, mask wearing can be dangerous and is shown over and over again to be ineffective. It appears masks are more effective in helping to spread illnesses by providing a surface for viruses to collect on. It's like carrying a petri dish in front of your face. According to the American with Disabilities Act, if wearing a mask poses a mental or physical risk, there should be exemptions made. There are exemptions, not should be. So please don't mandate them to attend a school. And please don't teach the masses to hate and shame those who do not comply. This conditioning leads to people to be more willing to follow irrational orders and do other things without questioning authority or logic in the future. When there is a risk, there should always be a choice. I'm going to expand a lot more on that in a different video. So now I go to the Wikipedia for hypercarpenia. It is from the Greek word hyper, or as in above, or too much. And kapinos equals smoke. So too much smoke is hypercarpenia. Also can be referred to as CO2 retention. It is a condition of abnormally elevated carbon dioxide levels in the blood. Carbon dioxide is a gaseous product of the body's metabolism and is normally expelled through the lungs. If you can't expel it with the mask, you're just rebreathing it. Okay, so now another research from looks like the verywellhealth.com, and this is symptoms of hypercarpenia. Symptoms. Often hypercarpenia does not cause obvious effects, and most people do not notice or complain of symptoms. This is exactly why I'm making this video, because most people don't even notice that they have a small headache, or that they're a little bit dizzy or disoriented. Common symptoms of hypercarpenia, if they do occur, include one or more of the following. Fatigue, an inability to concentrate or think clearly. Headaches, flushy, dizziness, dyspepsia, shortness of breath, tachypnea, rapid breathing, increased blood pressure. Because these effects are so vague, you might not even realize they are caused by hypercarpania. So pay attention, people, if you're wearing these masks. Central hypoventilation. Conditions that impair your brain's respiratory regulation may result in CO2 accumulation in your blood. Your respiratory control can be impaired by an overdose of narcotics, a stroke, or a degenerative brain condition. So you might not even know you have it with the stroke things or the brain condition. The drugs we can write off, that's your fault. Such as brainstem stroke. Don't even know you could have it. But hypercarpania and the mask can aggravate it. Nervous system disorders like encephalitis, it's a brain infection, or just a large stroke. Drug overdoses, such as with an opiate or a benzoidazepine. I don't do those drugs. Next bit of research. This is from the Headache Journal online library. Again, all the links will be down below. The name of the headache is called the de novo PPE associated headaches. DE-NOVO. De novo. So these people did a test in Singapore. There's going to be a bunch of numbers. I'm not going to read all the numbers, but the link will be in the description below, and all the stuff I'm going to read will be in there, but I'm going to graze through those numbers because there's a lot. So the test, to see what is happening. Headaches associated with personal protective equipment, a cross-sectional study among frontline healthcare workers during COVID-19. Objectives. We sought to determine the risk factors associated with the development of de novo PPP-associated headaches, as well as the perceived impact of these headaches on their personal health and work performances. The impact of COVID-19 on pre-existing headaches disorders was also investigated. The method. This is a cross-sectional study among healthcare workers at our Territoria institution who are working in a high-risk hospital during COVID-19. All respondents completed a self-administered questionnaire. This is in Singapore. So they tested 158 healthcare workers. A majority, 126 out of 158, were aged 21 to 35. 102 nurses, 51 doctors, and 5 paramedical staff out of the 158. The pre-existing primary headaches diagnosed was present in about a third, 46 out of the 158, so 29%. So 29% had pre-existing headaches. These are based on the emergency department, have higher than average daily duration of combined PPE exposure compared to those working in an isolated ward. Okay, so now it's going to get into all the weird numbers. I'm just going to pass. Okay, so again, they tested 158 people. 48 of the 158 had pre-existing headaches. So their conclusion: most healthcare workers develop de novo PPE-associated headaches or exacerbation of their pre-existing headache disorders. PPP usage pattern. All 158 healthcare workers reported that they were using an increased frequency of PPP exposure since the COVID-19 outbreak in Singapore. On average, respondents donned the N95 face mask for 18.3 days over the 30-day period, with a mean of 5.9 hours per day. Goggles were used as a protective eyewear in the majority, 153 of the 158, with a mean of 5.7 hours per day. The combined use of the N95 face mask and the protective eyewear was worn for an average of 18 days over the 30-day period, with a mean of 5.7 hours per day. Okay, now I just talked about the isolation ward and stuff. Their conclusion: we present the prevalence and characteristics of de novo headaches and aggravated pre-existing headaches among frontline healthcare personnel working in a high-risk area of a territorial institute during the current COVID-19 outbreak in Singapore. The magnitude of this condition is clinically significant and might worsen if the current outbreak spreads widely and stays for a long time, affecting the work performance of healthcare workers. Perhaps a better strategic Perhaps better strategies are needed for designing various personal protective equipment and reducing their exposure time by healthcare workers. So this study talked about getting headaches, and they actually talked about wearing the goggles and pressing on their head and giving them stress headaches as well. Now, they did really good research, but what I'm more concerned about is the CO2 emissions from my mask going right back into my mouth and all my germs going right back into my mouth. I'm willing to take a PPP headache of a mask because it's going to give me a shield, so I'll get a little bit of a headache here from a shield, but I won't be sucking in my CO2. So very good research here. Partially what I was looking at using. I'm glad I did the research and found it. And again, please read my links and do your own research.